Good afternoon from the farmer's garden. I'm one of the farmers and I'm out by the chicken house again. So today I want to just cover briefly some different housing requirements for chickens. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail on this because, well, I shouldn't say detail. I'm not going to cover all the types of housing because there are so many options. If you just Google chicken houses or chicken coops or backyard chicken pens or whatever, you will find so many different ideas. But I'm going to show you what we've got. One of our pens is super simple. Anybody can put it up in their backyard. One of them is a little bit more elaborate. It would be great on a homestead, but not very practical in a backyard. But I'm going to show you those, and I'm just going to go over some important things hi Clyde, things that matter no matter what size or type of chicken pen you are trying to build. And I haven't fed yet, so the goats are going to make racket while I'm out here. That's okay. All right. So starting with this very simple chicken pen, I built this myself in about 45 minutes. I think I did a video when I put this one up, and I said, if you're starting a homestead, buy yourself a dog pen, because these are very handy. But this particular dog pen, we bought it used off of either Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. Hi Nubbins goat. And we paid like $100, I think. We got 2 of the long panels we got 4 of the long panels and I think 4 of the shorter panels. Some of the shorter panels weren't in good shape, so we didn't keep those. But this is what we were able to put together with this. And like I said, I did this myself in about 45 minutes. I'm gonna have to feed this goat to get him out of the way. He wants his loves. All right, so what I did is I've got a long panel and a long panel, and then I've got the short panels on the ends, and I used another long panel on the top. Chickens can fly, chickens do fly, so you need some kind of top on your enclosure. I've also used a tarp to cover the end to make it sheltered from the sun and the rain. I would like eventually to add tin along this bottom part. I like to have tin along the bottom. It keeps out rodents and predators a little better. I haven't added that yet, mostly because I've just been kind of lazy. But this one is a super simple pen that anybody can do. This pen would be great if you have a homestead. It's not very practical for backyard use. First of all, because it holds so many more chickens. Most people, this pen right here will hold plenty of chickens for most people to use just for their family. Remember I told you yesterday that you only need as many chickens as you want eggs. So you don't want as many chickens as I've got. But what we've got, this is all right, this goat is driving me crazy. This is a carport frame. So you buy the metal pieces that build the frame, and you buy the roof all as a kit. All of the other tin is recycled off of a shed that we took down here at our house. So we had the cost of the structure itself and the cost of wire, and then the cost of the boards. Some of the boards we were able to recycle off that same shed we took down, and some we bought new. All right, so this first area here, we've just created a little feed room, and eventually we will close this in with a wall here, but this has worked really well so far. You just need an area that is sheltered from the rain, that is closed off from pests. Now, obviously, we're going to get mice and rats and probably squirrels in here, but we do keep our feed in these cans. I strongly recommend the galvanized cans for feed. Rats can chew through plastic. You can see this is a very thick, sturdy bucket. We had a feed can that was made out of very similar plastic, and the rats chewed right through it to get to the feed. Always use the galvanized cans or barrels, whatever you can find that's metal, because that will be sturdier. So you'll need some place to store your feed. Your door needs to be a sturdy thing that will keep predators out. So this is just a screen door, mostly for the frame. And then we've got a piece of wood on the bottom to keep it solid. And you can see better from the inside. We've added chicken wire over the screen, and that just makes that sturdier. The chickens, when they fly against it, they don't break it, and anything coming from the outside can't break it. So you need some type of door. All right, we use chicken wire on that door. That is about the only place in here that has chicken wire. I strongly recommend using this 2x4 welded wire for your chicken houses. Chicken wire is it's an old standby. A lot of people are like, oh, chicken wire, that's where we go. Chicken wire is very hard to work with. It breaks very easily. And on top of that, because it breaks very easily, it's not really very sturdy. So the only place I've used it, I've got to stop and feed to make them quiet. Hold on. All right, the feed didn't really make anybody any quieter. They're just excited today. All right, so the only place we've used chicken wire is up here on this piece that divides the two pens, and right up there at the top. And you can see that's really high, and whatever would want to try to come through, there's tin and there's wire. There's nothing really there that they could climb very well. So I'm not really worried about predators at the top. I'm just worried about chickens flying out. So I use the chicken wire there and the chicken wire at the top. Everything else is the 2x4 welded wire because that doesn't break as easily. It doesn't let predators in. Okay? And again, tin along the bottoms. The tin that separates here in the middle is because chicks can come through the 2x4 wire. So we use the tin to keep them from walking back and forth between the pins. The tin along the outside is for predator defense. So it's solid along the bottom. You need at least one solid wall on your north side. You can see our feed room is also partly solid. We could have gone solid about that far on this end and would have been fine. We just chose not to. But you don't want all solid because chickens need light. Day length affects how many eggs you get. And so in the winter, you already don't get many eggs because it's dark more parts of the day, or longer hours of the day. But you need lots of lighting in your chicken house for your layers. All right, so some of these next parts may be review from our last video, or last videos, but I'll go over them quickly because they do pertain to chicken housing. You will need a good roost. Nest boxes are for laying eggs. Roosts are for sitting on. I try to encourage my birds not to just sit and hang out on the nest box because wherever they sit, they poop. And you don't really want all that poop getting in your nest boxes, then it gets on your eggs and then they're grosser. So in your nest box, you need some type of bedding. I strongly prefer wood shavings, either cedar or pine. I usually do pine because they don't stick to the eggs very bad. Hay will stick to eggs really bad, especially if an egg breaks in there. Beach sand, things like that I've seen will also stick to the eggs. I like the shavings. But I try not to encourage my chickens to roost here. You can see the top is slanted. That's to keep them like where they slide off. That's designed that way. There's really not a lot of space here on this roost. And what is here, there's enough room for anybody sitting here. Their poop would fall down or would fall out this way. It wouldn't fall in. I don't like them sleeping inside the nest box. So that's what the roost is for. I have used pipe on mine. It's recommended that you use something more square than round so that they can grip it better. But pipe is what I had available. This was all left at our house when we moved in, and so we just used that to get it used up. Another option is some thick branches. So this branch is one of their favorite hangouts, and you can see it's not quite round so they can grip it better. And that's what I have over here as well, is just branches for a roost system. So you need nest boxes and roosts. All right, so that's kind of the basics. Inside your hen house, you will need some type of feeding system, and I'll go over that. I'll do a video on feeds, but you'll need some type of feeding pan, bucket. I like hanging galvanized feeders. I'll go over that later. You need some type of water system. I'll also go over that later. Just those basic things. If you are curious about the different ways to raise chickens, I told you you can Google to get different hen house or coop ideas. You can also, if you're wondering, like, I want to raise USDA cage-free chickens. What does that mean when I buy those eggs? You can just Google USDA cage-free and it'll give you that definition. You can do the same thing with free range. A lot of those things, people ask us often, are these free range chickens? Yes. Yes, they are. There's not a really firm definition of free range. Free range simply means that they get some time outside. And our coop is not even fully enclosed, so we could even technically call our coop free range. But ours do often go out and peck around in the pasture or in the yard. But if you're not sure on some of those terms, if you want to be spending extra money, if you're even getting anything extra for those terms, just Google and put USDA in front of it so you get their information. Otherwise, you could get a lot of really crazy ideas. There's a lot of people pushing agendas that don't really know the true definition on those things. As far as space for your birds, USDA minimum is 1.5 square foot for an adult bird. To me, that's really tight. But a cage-free bird is technically only required to have 1.5 square foot of space. I like to keep more than that. My coop is, can't remember off the top of my head. I'm thinking it's around 800 square feet, and probably the most we would ever put in here is, or no, not 800, 600. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyways, we figured it out that the most we would probably ever put in here is like 150 chickens, just for our standards for how we like to keep them. But that's up to you, how many you want in there. The minimum is 1.5 square feet per bird. All right, so I think that covers basic housing. You need a sturdy cage, a sturdy pen, 2x4 welded wire or chain link. Avoid the chicken wire. Chicken wire does not hold out predators. It's best to do some type of solid material, tin, plywood, bricks, whatever you want to use. Solid material on the bottom to keep predators out. You need a roof, something to protect them from rain and snow and whatever else. You need nest boxes, you need roosts. Nest boxes are not roosts, and roosts are not nest boxes, so you need both. You need feeders, waterers. Pretty basic. There you go. So that's kind of the breakdown. Like I say, I'm not going to cover all the types. My mother-in-law has a chicken tractor made out of half a trampoline. We used to have a chicken pen that was made out of cattle panels. You put them in a frame and you bow them over and you put them on the other side of the frame. You do it that way. You can use a shed for your chicken pen. You can use a stall in your barn for your chicken pen. Whatever you want to use. There's so many different options. I don't prefer the little chicken houses that you can buy the kits for at Tractor Supply and Atwoods. They just don't hold up very well. They're made cheaply, and chickens are a little bit rougher on stuff than you would imagine. The amount of poop that goes out is pretty insane, and so that kind of tends to rot things. It's hard to keep those little ones clean. But again, that's preference. You may prefer that. On poop, somebody did ask me, do you have to clean out your chicken pen? Commercial producers do definitely clean out their chicken pens. A lot of times the bottoms of their pens are concrete so that they can bring a skid steer in and they can scoop it all out and they can clean it all and it'll be gone. I do occasionally shovel mine out and use that in a compost pile. But if you have enough space, we're not talking about mucking stalls every day. We're talking about when it starts to pile up, particularly under the roost. They poop all night, and so you'll get piles under there. or if it starts to pile up and get, like if there's a particular part where it's not draining because it's like building up. I always joke, whoever said buy dirt, they're not making any more, didn't own chickens, because chickens make dirt. And so if they start to build up too much, yeah, you need to scoop it out. But if they're on dirt, it tends to break down and they scratch it in and whatever. And so it doesn't get too bad as far as smell and sludge and stink. So anyways, that's my breakdown. That's what I've got. Thank you for stopping by the farm today. I hope you enjoyed your visit and I hope you learned something about chickens. Be sure and let us know in the comments if you have any other specific questions to cover. I'm still waiting to cover baby chicks. I'm hoping to wait for ours to hatch. I'm going to cover breed selection. I'm going to cover feeding and that sort of thing. But that's what I've got for now. I'm going to collect eggs and head in the house. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure and come back when you can stay longer.